So let's get started for today. I'd like to start by introducing myself. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sheer Ehrlich. I am a strategic implementation manager here at Microdesk, where I specialize in both BIM implementation and Dynamo automation. So while working as a strategic implementation manager, I noticed many inefficiencies in my workflows using, just out of the box Revit. So really for the past year, maybe a little over a year now, I have been working closely with our product development team on BIMrx Core to speed up and improve those workflows. And now I am also the BIMrx Core product owner. Before getting started with the demo, I want to talk a little bit about what BIMrx is. We really built BIMrx to enhance and simplify Revit and BIM 360. So for each of the modules, it is really purpose-built to allow us to get projects out the door faster and spend less time on what we like to refer to as these low-level tasks. And so that way we can get back to the things that matter most and focus on design. BIMrx Core, MEP, and Fabrication, that's the first four you see up here, are all built to be a part of Revit, while BIMrx Cloud Manager is a standalone application. BIMrx is built to showman the entire BIM project lifecycle, from views and model production to collaborating with stakeholders and project administration. Now, today we are here to talk about BIMrx Core, which is the foundation of all the BIMrx products and is focused on project setup, model management, and documentation. It has powerful commands and features that integrate with Excel so that your project teams can create custom workflows that work for the entire team, not just Revit users. BIMrx Core really automates those manual repetitive tasks so that your team can spend their time on the things that matter most. And like I mentioned before, BIMrx Core is really focused on streamlining project setup, data management, modeling, documentation, and model management. I am extremely excited today because in today's workflows, we will get a sneak peek of some of the new features coming out soon in the next release of BIMrx 3.1. In today's workflow, you will see the improvement to the existing extract and update features and the existing revision manager feature, and some of our new features like the BIMrx match parameter, align, and print set manager features. From setting up the views in your project to managing Excel data to tagging your drawings and even creating and managing your print sets, BIMrx Core is really built to work throughout your entire project life cycle. Now let's get into that demo. I will now switch over to the live demo to show you how some of these features work. So just give me a moment to open up that Revit file. Here you can see that we've just finished setting up all the levels and grids in our project. Now, once we have the levels and grids set up, we can start setting up all of the views for those levels. Now, before BIMrx, this would take us quite a long time of creating all those views. But with the BIMrx Sheet View Manager, we are able to streamline the entire project setup process. Now, we can create the views directly within the BIMrx interface by adding rows of data, as you see here. But the real game changer is the ability to use Excel to streamline this entire process for us. Here we have our view set configuration settings that have been set up through an Excel configuration file. You can see how we can set up all the different view types needed. We can then select all the levels that we need those plans created for. We can also customize our view sheet naming and sheet numbering conventions. Once we hit apply, we'll see that the data grid will update with all of that information. This will allow us to set up all our views, from the floor plans, the RCPs, furniture plans, and working plans. It is all done so easily. Lastly, we will select to create, and you'll see how in just a few seconds, a little over 50 plans have been created, and all that project setup is done for us. You can see all the views that I now need are in my project browser. My floor plans, RCPs, finished plans, furniture plans, presentation plans, and working plans are all here. And now that we've set up all our projects views, we can start to model all of the elements within our building. Let's fast forward through time to a point when our building is modeled, just like that. I mean, I wish BIMrx had a button to do that, but we still need to model it ourselves. But once we have our modeling portion done, we can begin that tedious task of updating the data of our model elements. Managing data is such a repetitive process within Revit. You must select each element and input all of that parametric information. And Revit makes this process a little bit easier by allowing us to create schedules, but it's still so tedious to update that data. Now, I just showed you how to create our views within our project utilizing Excel. But let's take a look at how we manage our parametric data. The BIMrx extract and update features allow for round-trip data between Revit and Excel. And before I extract and update the elements, I must first select the elements I want. For this example, we want to update some room parameters, and we will use the BIMrx filter select to do just that. Here, we are able to easily select elements based off of our Revit rule-based filters. This takes selecting elements to a whole new level. We can also access the Revit out-of-the-box filter dialog if we need to create new filters. Then we can set up our rule-based filters to select and hide, or select and isolate those elements. Now, once we have our rooms selected, we can come over and use the BIMrx extract feature. With BIMrx extract, we can either extract a selection of elements or any pre-created Revit schedule. For this example, we will extract our selection. When extracting a selection, we can now preview which parameters we want extracted right here. By default, it will export all parameters associated to the elements of my selection. But we can use our parameter filter, as you see, to specify which parameters we want extracted. With the parameter filter, we have the ability to really narrow down which specific parameters we want. And here we want to extract all our room names, numbers, and the different finishes. We can then save this filter to use at a later point in time. Once we save it, the preview will then update according to the changes that we have made. Once we are happy with this preview, we can select to create a simple export. This will only export the type and instance parameters that we've specified. Then we can hit export. It'll prompt us to save the file. And then prompt me to open that file. Now, once that file is open, we can start inputting that information in. Now, in reality, we would probably take some time to make these changes, more appropriate, but for the ease of this demo, let's just input some data. Not only is this really easy for us Revit users to update the information, but now we can coordinate with non-Revit users alike. I'm certain that many of you have team members who aren't working in Revit. Well, now we can export this Excel file, hand it over to our consultants or other project team members who aren't in Revit. They can fill out the Excel file, bring it back to us, and we can easily bring it back into the Revit model. All we have to do is save the file, come back to Revit. Let's open up first a schedule so we can see this data when it is updated. Now we can use our BIMrx update feature, select the correct Excel file, and simply hit update. And just like that, all our room data has been updated. It is so fast and easy. Not only are there commands and features that work to update parametric information through Excel, but BIMrx has a few commands and features that work to update parameters directly within our Revit model. For example, we have our brand new match parameter feature that allows us to match instance parameters across different families or elements. The Revit out-of-the-box match parameter only matches types, but now with BIMrx, we can match instance parameters as well. For example, I can add a value to the comments parameter in this furniture element, then select the BIMrx match parameter command. Simply select the element with the value that I want and all the elements that I want to match that value to. Then I simply select which parameter I want to match and select match. Now all my elements will have the same value for that parameter. This makes copying values across different elements so easy. Now that we've finished managing all of that data within the Revit model, let's take a look at how we use BIMrx to create our documentation set. We went through project setup, we went through model management, and now we need to start that documentation process, right? Before we can document our drawings, we need to create all our sheets and place all of those drawings on their respective sheets. That's where the BIMrx Sheet View Manager comes back into play. You'll see here in my 3D view, I have 2 towers associated to my building. So we might also want to create some dependent views for the different towers from the overall plans that we've created earlier. I'm sure that you know duplicating as dependent our different sector plans is such a tedious task. We have to select each view, right-click to duplicate as dependent, repeat, repeat, repeat. Then we have to go back and rename all those views and then add all those scope boxes. Well, with the Sheet View Manager, we're able to streamline this entire process. All we have to do is load in that Excel file to create the dependent views for all those towers. The Excel includes that naming and the scope boxes for each dependent view. No longer do we have to waste time going back and renaming all those views and assigning those scope boxes. In just a few seconds, my views are created. Next, we have to create the sheets, right? The Excel file is already loaded in, so all we have to do is switch over to the Sheets tab and hit Create. And just like that, all the sheets have been created in our project. Let's go take a look at them in the project browser. There's my views, and there's my sheets. Lastly, we have to place all those views on their respective sheets. And just like that, we will load in our Excel file. Before BIMrx, we would have to open every single sheet, find the view, drag and drop it onto the sheet, and then they aren't even aligned. Well, with BIMrx, we can select the sheet, the corresponding view, the view type, and even the placement location. We don't even have to open any sheet or view to do this. With the BIMrx Sheet View Manager, that is all done through that Excel-based workflow. You can see as we speak, those views are being placed and added to those sheets in the exact same location without us having to open a single sheet. And just like that, all my sheets are set up and those views are placed in the middle as I've specified them. Now that we have all our sheets and views created, we can start that documentation process. Adding dimension to our views can be really time consuming, right? Especially dimensioning our grids. The new BIMrx dimension grid commands will automatically apply a dimension string between all grids in our views with one click of a button. Then all we have to do is move the dimension strings to the correct location. And once those dimensions are correctly located, we can move on to the next step, which is tagging. We've done the hard work of updating all the data within those Revit elements in our model, but now we have to go and add those tags to show all of that information, because at the end of the day, we're delivering a set of drawings, right? The Revit out-of-the-box tagging method, it works okay to tag elements, but it's always placing tags in the center, and we end up spending so much time adjusting tag locations. Well, our tagging features solves those problems. We want to start with our tag settings because this is where we're going to set up all of our tag configurations. These tag configurations allow us to set up multiple tag symbols per category, specify location relative to our element, and then specify offsets relative to that location. We can even set up a default for every single one of our categories. And then we can even start tagging elements directly within our settings dialog just to make sure those tags are in the proper location. Once we have our default configuration set up, we can use the tag select, which will now work like the out-of-the-box tag by category, but with our BIMrx tag settings. Here we can easily tag all of our doors and rooms. And we don't have to move them after the fact because they're right where we want them. But sometimes we have existing tags placed that may need to be aligned, and the new BIMrx Align command gives us a variety of alignment options for both tags and dimensions. For example, I can select to align all these wall tags to the bottom. Getting my drawings documented and cleaned up has never been easier than with BIMrx. Once we finish tagging all our elements, we may want to start incorporating non-Revit information into our documentation set. Now, I showed you how to utilize Excel to create views and sheets and even update parametric data. But what if we have Excel files or Word or PDFs like the Excel file that I have right here? Revit out of the box doesn't allow us to incorporate Excel files or Word files into Revit. But now with our BIMrx Imprint feature, we can do just that. We can incorporate Microsoft Excel, Word, or PDF files directly onto our Revit views and sheets. Not only is this file imprinted, but this is a link. So that if you modify those files at any point in time, it will be updated in the Revit model as well. As you can see, our imprint is successful, and now we can move it to any location. Now that we finished adding everything to our documentation set, all our sheets are ready to go, we probably need to start finalizing those revisions and adding those revisions to our sheets. Well, that is where our BIMrx Revision Manager comes in. The BIMrx Revision Manager allows us to add multiple revisions, remove multiple revisions, and then create print sets of those revised sheets. I can easily select my sheets and specify one or many revisions to add to those sheets. Once we've added our revisions, we can use the intuitive filtering to filter by that revision, easily select all our sheets, and then create a print set of those sheets. The print set will then show up in my Revit out-of-the-box print manager. Or we can use the new BIMrx print set manager to manage that print set. We can easily create, duplicate, or delete print sets, filter by different view and sheet properties, and easily modify the views or sheets within that print set. Now, once we finish all our modifications, we can now see those changes being applied when we go to the Revit out-of-the-box print manager. All I have to do is select Control P, and I'll pull up my Revit out-of-the-box print manager to see those print sets. But wait, there is even more. One of the most amazing additions to BIMrx is the new release of BIMrx Cloud Manager 2.7. BIMrx Cloud Manager now integrates with BIMrx Core to allow for the export of PDFs and NWC files from the Revit model on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. Remember how I just showed you how to create print sets with BIMrx Core's Revision Manager and then manage those print sets with BIMrx Core's Print Set Manager? Well, now with BIMrx Cloud Manager Pro, we can take those print sets and automate the export of PDFs either on demand or on a schedule. This integration opens the possibilities for even more ways to automate your workflows like never before. Later this week on Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Brendan Gregory, our BIMrx Cloud Manager product owner, will be giving a webinar on BIMrx Cloud Manager. So make sure to check out his presentation to see just how this integration works. Now, enough about Cloud Manager. Let's jump back to BIMrx Core and see how it solves the inefficiencies within out-of-the-box Revit. With BIMrx Core, managing and creating sheets and views is made easy with our Excel-based workflows. Not only can we leverage Excel to create sheets and views, but we can use Excel to quickly manage our model data and integrate Excel files into our documentation set with our extract, update, and imprint features. Now, BIMrx Core's tagging features make documenting our views so fast and easy. And with our addition of our auto dimensioning grids and our align features, tagging and documenting views has never been easier. And lastly, with our revision manager, we can quickly add or remove our revisions and create print sets or manage our print sets with the BIMrx Print Set Manager. Just take a look at some of these time savings. Really, the more elements you need to be modified, the more time is saved using BIMrx Core. The real question is, how much time are you wasting by not using BIMrx Core? BIMrx Core really includes even more incredible commands and features than what I got to show you today to automate project setup, model management, and documentation, allowing for tons of ways to speed up your workflows. I'm certain that you would benefit from not just one, but many of the features listed here, and I hope you got just a small taste of what BIMrx Core could do for your project teams.